and they were diagnosed with a fever, and that fever came to be known as Lassa fever. The eventuality was a fatality. But from then up till now, knowledge and research has progressed about this disease called Lassa fever. And that's our topic today on the program, Wellness and Living. You're welcome. My name is Thelma Obaze. PJ Palmer opines that preservation of health is easier than the curing of disease. And we tend to agree. It tells us that there are measures we can put in place that can keep ailments and disease at bay if we do them consistently and correctly. In the course of the program, we will examine some of these areas with our medical professional, Dr. Abuja. But first up, you know how we like to do? We go to town so we can talk with you, so we can share in your experiences. We get to know what you know, and we get to share again with everyone what you share. Let's do that as usual.
Yeah, I heard about Lassa fever, and the little I know about Lassa fever is basically caused by rats, like rat urine or excrete, especially in like gari. Some of this our raw food. I know Nigerian now, poverty. Yes. Even if your gari is being messed up by rats, urine or anything, you still want to use it and manage it. You still want to see if the last everything is true or false.
Young people, little children. Very dangerous disease.
Yes, I have heard about Lassa fever. So it's caused by dirty environments, especially rats.
Lassa is a kind of malaria parasite or something. I don't really understand the full meaning, but the only way someone can prevent it is by keeping the environment clean. Not allowing rats to base on your food or any food that you have. You just keep it covered. At least avoid any environment that you have. Because any food, rats, they are definitely. That's one of the major causes of Lassa fever.
When you are not keeping your environment clean, there's the possibility of rodents, which is the rats, coming into your room or into your store to contaminate your foodstuff, like gari, beans or rice. When it is contaminated, when you cook such food, you are bound to have Lassa fever. Once there is a disease doesn't know a child, doesn't know a woman, doesn't know a man. It will consume every person. So long as you have blood flowing in your vein, then it will be difficult for you to be saying that it will only kill or affect children or women.
It's to keep our environment clean, to avoid rats coming to our living homes to infect us with Lassa fever.
How to avoid this Lassa fever is just the way we store our food. Let's be very, very conscious of the way we store our food. And let's try at all means to eradicate rats, because it's not even healthy to be in our house or anywhere. So let's just try in one way or the other to eradicate rats. And if maybe the way you try or your try is not enough, maybe rats get to spoil one or two things, please just avoid it.
Is to imbibe an effective sanitation program in our homes. We should always try and keep our environment clean, and also we should kill all rodents, rats that are in our neighborhood, because they are the carriers of this Lassa fever. The one with the long mouth is it's poisonous. So when we see it in our environment, we should just kill it, eliminate it. And I will call on the authorities to also help by fumigating our environment. Fumigation is very, very important. It's key to a healthful living.
Measures we've taken according to our is making sure your environment is clean. They don't allow rats into your facilities or surroundings. At the same time, it's contagious. So anybody that have any symptom of malaria, instead of just picking the drop, they should go to the hospital and go for a flu test to ascertain kind of sickness that person is having.
One will agree with. And I have no doubt about that. We present the best version of ourselves when we are well, when we are healthy. Then we can set goals and objectives, and we can prepare. We can take actions. We can take measurements to achieve them. First, what do we do to preserve our good health? Lassa fever is our focus today. We did some research. We're bringing for you some information, vital and critical information, especially as we have come to learn that human beings can contract Lassa fever very easily, just by ignoring hygiene at any phase or step in our daily life. It could happen to anyone or everyone. Let's take those measures, and we're best prepared to take those measures when we have the best, well-researched and documented information. Lassa fever has been known to occur in different parts of Nigeria, and it can affect anyone, any gender at any time. There have been several Lassa fever outbreaks since it was first reported in 1969. Lassa fever presents with no specific symptoms. That is why clinical diagnosis is often difficult, especially at the onset of the disease. Accurate diagnosis, therefore, can be assisted with laboratory testing, clinical manifestations, and epidemiological findings. Early treatment is very critical for survival, and it requires a specialized and segmented type of treatment. Care must be taken to avoid the spread of the disease, especially in a hospital setting. Lassa fever is symptomatic and is characterized by fever, pain in the muscles, nausea, vomiting, sore throat, abdominal, and chest pains. After the initial symptoms are noticed, Lassa fever progresses to include hemorrhaging and neurological problems. If treatment is not meted out early, fatalities may and often occur. So far, 5,000 deaths have been recorded annually in West Africa since Lassa fever was discovered. Lassa fever can be controlled effectively by adopting proper standard precautions in hospitals as well as communities. It is essential to educate the public on the transmission mode. It is also vital and critical to emphasize the need for proper hygiene in the home and in the environment. There should be proper sanitation in the home and in the surroundings to avoid Lassa fever and keep it at bay. Lassa fever can and must be eradicated. To achieve this, all hands, that of the medical professionals and the society at large, must be on deck to eradicate it and to bring about a lasting and permanent solution. One could say that every experience that we encounter in our life's journey can be quite interesting when we think that either at this very point we're experiencing it, somebody is going through the same thing, or in the past, or someone will go through the same thing in the future. That makes it easier and less daunting for you to surmount ailments, challenges, difficulties, hurdles, obstacles, call them whatever. It is possible to get treatment at every given time, especially if you know what you are ailing from. When the diet is not right, medicine is of no use. And when the diet is correct, medicine is of no need. So true, wouldn't you say? So vital, too easy to go along. Take precautions to ensure that you preserve your health. Take every measure necessary to ensure that Your wellness state continues to progress upwards. Dr. Abuja is talking to us about Lassa fever. Let's take a listen.
Lassa fever is an infection that results following exposure to the Lassa fever virus. And it's basically a condition that was first discovered in 1969 when two missionary nurses died in northeastern Nigeria, precisely Lassa, Borno State, from where it got its name, the Lassa fever. However, it's a condition that is quite endemic across the West African sub-region, affecting countries like Sierra Leone, Liberia, and of course, our dear country, Nigeria. Every year, as much as 200 to 300,000 people are affected across the sub-region, and death rates are between 5,000 to 10,000. It's so common in some places that in Liberia, for example, out of every 10 patients on admission on the bed in the hospital, one of them is likely to be infected with the Lassa fever virus. So it's a problem, it's a major health problem, and is presently an epidemic in the country as a result of an increase in the incident. Lassa fever follows exposure, obviously, to the feces, urine, or other forms of contaminated materials and other body fluids from contaminated sources. And usually it follows the exposure of a patient either to another patient who has this condition or exposure to a certain form of rat called the African rat, precisely Mastomyces nataliensis, that contaminates food materials and by passing stool and urine around the house, and people who access those materials can get infected. Commonly, within 2 to 21 days following the infection with Lassa fever, patients would manifest with certain symptoms, and these symptoms appear and are progressive all the way to the bad ones. So initially, patients will present with fever, weakness, and a feeling of unwell, which we call malaise. After a couple of days, patients will then progress to develop nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, and may even have diarrhea. In addition to that, they will complain of chest pain, joint pains, muscle pain, affecting all parts of the body. It's important to know that this first set of symptoms are common in most patients. However, it may suddenly resolve. A small percentage, about 20%, may progress beyond that to the classical symptoms like bleeding from the mucosa. So it will come from the eye, from the nose, even from the mouth. And then if patients go to toilet to pass stool, they may notice some blood. And for ladies who are menstruating, they may notice that the flow is more, or may just notice an intermenstrual bleed, bleeding from the genital area that is outside their normal menses. Usually you want to see bleeding from two sides to solidify or confirm or to strengthen your suspicion. If, for example, 100 patients are exposed and infected with Lassa fever today, in the course of a couple of weeks or days to weeks, within 2 weeks, about 80 of them will develop only mild symptoms and may not even go to the hospital. They may suspect that they have malaria or typhoid or any of the other mild conditions or even viral flu. The remaining 20% get ill enough to seek medical care. And out of these 20% that end up in the hospital, in an epidemic situation like we have now, you would have a case fatality of as much as 50%. So 10 out of 20 who present to the hospital are at risk of dying. every suspected case should be properly reported, properly isolated, and confirmed using the reference labs. And treatment is usually involves a medication which I believe the Federal Ministry of Health has made available, and its early initiation of treatment is associated with better outcomes. Patients who are more at risk are those who have come in contact with the rat. So you have farmers who go to the farm and come in contact with rats, people who dry their wares like farm wares like groundnut, cocoa, cassava, pellets, yam, cut-ups beside the road. People who come in contact with maybe garbage that have been accessed by rats to a large extent. Then again, health workers who are at the receiving end, who are in hospitals and come in contact with this patient. The symptoms of Lassa fever mirror common infections we experience every day, like malaria, like typhoid, like acute gastroenteritis, and other viral hemorrhagic fevers like Ebola. Prevention can be looked upon at several levels. Health education is very key to increase community awareness so that everybody is aware that if you have a fever, if you have some of the symptoms that we earlier stated, you should make effort to contact the health personnel and get proper advice. Provision of personal protective equipment to a large extent will protect the health workers who are at the receiving end in the hospitals when these patients present. Then a strengthening of the confirmatory process, where you strengthen the network of sample delivery to reference lab for quick confirmation of suspected cases, will allow the early introduction and use of the medication, which has been shown to be potent in treating patients who are suspected with Lassa fever. The other interventions like general hygiene, hand hygiene, personal hygiene, household hygiene, and using rodent-proof materials and disposing your waste in a proper way that would prevent access to rodents. Lassa fever is endemic. It's been with us for several years, first discovered in 1969. Nigeria has fought conclusively a similar virus, Ebola virus. I think we have the critical mass of health personnel, the management capacity, and the wherewithal, and I believe also the political will to come together to ensure that this does not lead to a bigger challenge for our health system.
While we're doing our research about Lassa fever and carrying out interviews so we could be more informed and share that information with you, we also multitasked. We thought we'd do something different with our fitness. Let's go play golf. And guess what Ben Hogan says about golf? He said golf is a game of misses. The man who misses the most is going to win. And that's what we found when we went out on the course.
I'm in a group of 4. I'm playing with 3 gentlemen. So a typical round of golf, it's over 18 holes. And right now we're on hole 10. We've played the first half, which is first 9 holes. So we're about teeing off on hole 10 right now. You must be fit, you must have passion for the game. You must love the game of golf and love sports in general.
Yes.
We have par 3s, par 4s and par 5s. So par 3s are the shortest hole, and the par 5s are the longest. You come here very early in the morning, it's clean, you breathe in fresh air, so you can't take, there's nothing that beats it, you know, so everywhere is just clean. Golf is a game that exercises the whole body from your brain. You must be mentally alert, you must be physically fit, you know, so it's something that is all encompassing.
To play golf, when you've got all you need to play, like your clubs, like your trolley, who's gonna wheel your trolley for you? You need your caddy. Every successful golfer has got a caddy, and there he is.
Most of the times, if the players play bad, you as a caddy, you stand in a better position to calm the player, to make sure the player knows what he or she is playing. And as a caddy, if a player is counting his or her score, you must make sure that score is correct. We resume here most of the time 6 a.m. In most cases, we work every day, depending on how the players come. If they come, if there are many of them, most of the caddies work every day. If your boss is coming, you can caddy for your boss. But if your boss is not coming, you can caddy for anybody you feel like.
When we're talking about wellness and living, we're always focused on your health and the improvement of it. When you're healthy, when you're well, at any given time, you are presenting the best version of yourself. And once you start to take your wellness seriously, you are going to see that you begin to perform at optimal capacity at all levels. According to Rob Ulrich, a healthy outside must begin from a healthy inside. How are you ensuring that your wellness is growing progressively? How are you taking care of your inside? Today, our topic is Lassa fever. And Lassa fever is contracted from contaminated feces and urine of rodents. That shows that any healthy step, any healthy measure you ignore could be costly. Your good health is in your hands and is the best step you can take on any day, come rain, come shine. Continue to grow your wellness upwards. This has been Wellness and Living. Do spend time with us on our social media handle, Wellness and Living at Nigerian Television Authority. Thank you so much, everyone who has taken time to interact with us there. Continue to do so. Let's progress together. My name is Filma Obaze. I would love to do this again with you. For now, it's bye-bye.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Every celebration is an opportunity for cake lovers to explore new recipes. It might interest you to know that in recent times, some bakers are committed to developing new cake recipes that offers varieties in terms of taste and texture. Such combinations are sure to give you a memorable delight to your taste bud at any special occasion. You're watching Baker's World on NTA. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Funke Oyele. On this episode of Baker's World, we'll be showing you how to bake a decadent cake suitable for Lovers' Day celebration. Our baker is a young and creative woman who's been able to create employment for herself after graduation. Our conversation segment says more about this baker. All this and more for you today on Baker's World. Just relax and enjoy. Red velvet cake has a buttery flavor that differentiates it from chocolate cakes. We're familiar with either the oil or the butter-based red velvet cake. Are you aware that you can achieve the perfect taste and texture if you combine both butter and oil to make a red velvet cake? On this segment, our baker Sarah and Joy will show us how to make a moist, soft and buttery flavor red velvet cake. This will be decorated to complement the Valentine's Day celebration. I'm sure you're itching to see this. Don't go anywhere.
The first thing we're going to do is to make our buttermilk. To make your buttermilk, you take 1 cup of milk, of liquid milk, and you add to it either 1 tablespoon of lemon juice or white vinegar. We're going to be using lemon juice. While Joy is doing that, we go straight to mixing our butter and sugar. So this is our butter. We use unsalted butter. Then we add our oil. Then we add our sugar. We're going to be mixing our We'll scrape down the sides and then we'll mix again. Now look at this. It's not as yellow as it was when we started mixing. So our butter and sugar are properly mixed. Next is eggs. And we're going to be putting the eggs one at a time. We don't just lump all the eggs in. Next is our flavor. You can use any flavor of your choice. But for this red velvet cake, we'll be using vanilla flavor and strawberry cheese flavor. Once your eggs are properly mixed, you alternate your dry ingredients and your wet ingredients. You begin with flour and end with flour. That's fine. Make sure you mix it properly. Add our flour. Next will be our buttermilk. Take note of this important part. We're going to be adding our baking soda and white vinegar. This is about the most important part of a red velvet cake. That's what makes it red velvet. It adds to the texture and it also improves the taste and helps it to stay red. Did you notice that fizzle after I poured the white vinegar? So you just mix it. So our batter is ready. We are going to bake in a moderately hot oven for between 30 to 45 minutes. Red velvet doesn't like too much of heat, so take note.
In a short while, we'll be having a chat with our guest baker. That will be after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
I'm actually a passionate baker. I don't rest until everything is done.
When I entered university, anytime I'm broke, I'll make cupcakes and go and sell to the other students.
Decorating cake it's an artistic thing, and art is, dynamic.
Join us on Baker's World every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA. Baker's World, celebrating creativity. Don't miss it.
When you are trying to aspire to do things, be very moderate. Think big, but be realistic to start small. And create your goals so that you don't have goals that are so big that you cannot achieve. And in that goal, make sure you have your immediate needs before you go into your intermediate needs, before you go into your long-term needs. If you have a plan where you have your long-term needs overshadowing everything that is basic, if you don't have the basic needs, you cannot achieve the long-term plan. And a lot of people have long-term plans and they put it in their immediate goals and they stress the immediate goals and they don't achieve it. You cannot be looking at building a house for yourself when you cannot eat 3 square meals. So you must start with the immediate goals. What will provide food for me? What will provide shelter for me? What will make sure I dress well? Before you start looking at, How do I buy a car? How do I own my own house? If you are going to have a plan of owning your own house, that owning your own house, you should have a bit of that plan in your immediate goal, that I'm going to be saving X amount of money every month to make sure I am building what I will use to actually attain the house that I want to get. So when you are having your set goals, make sure you have the plans and they are calculated in such a way that you don't allow one overlap the other one. Everything you need to succeed is around you.
Having to bake my kids' cake, having to meet their expectations. You know how they come with high expectations. Oh, my mommy is a baker. She can make this, she can make that. And then on their day of celebration, you meet those expectations. They will keep telling everybody around them, telling their friends, oh, my mom made this, my mom made that. That's a proud moment for me. And then sometimes in this journey also, I baked a cake for the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari. That was, I think, the height of it.
Our guest today is a creative young lady, a native of Abuja in Opoku local government area of Benue. Born 30th of October in the city of Makurdi, Sarah Ogiji proceeded to Federal Government Girls College in Boko, where she graduated in 1999. Furthering her education, Sarah studied mass communication from Benue State University for her undergraduate and master's degree. In the year 2014, an unusual circumstance rekindled her childhood passion in cake making. Sarah attended various trainings in the art of cake making, sugar craft, modeling, flower art, tiling class, advanced buttercream, and many others. All this she did to become a professional cake maker and an entrepreneur. Today, she has earned different certificates in the confectionery world within and outside the country, as she believes in creativity being vast and infinite. Sarah indeed is a tenacious woman who would stop at nothing to achieve perfection in the art of cake making and sugar craft. Our guest baker is married and blessed with 3 children. She is the CEO of Ziba's Oven and Fries. Join us as we chat with an articulate, result-oriented and amiable baker, Sarah Ogiji.
Welcome back. The program is still Baker's World on NTA, and my guest today is Sarah Ogiji. Welcome to Baker's World.
Thank you very much.
You studied mass communication. Tell me about your journey into this cake making business.
I started this cake making business precisely 6 years ago. It was after my daughter's 4th birthday that I began to give it a thought. I ordered for her birthday cake from one of these big shops in town. I was charged heavily for it. I chose my flavors and all that. When I went to pick up the cake, it didn't really meet my expectation. So I was like, how can I pay this much and then the cake doesn't meet my expectation? I said to myself, I need to learn this craft. If it means baking only my children's cake, because you know, children of these days, they come up with all manner of ideas and all. So if I can put those ideas to use and make them happy, why not? So while I began to brood about it and began to pray about it, God began to direct me on how to go about it and how to train and all that. And here I am today.
Coming into the Nigerian baking industry, what were your expectations like?
When I started, going by the fact that I paid so much for my daughter's cake back then, I felt that the money was really high. I was wondering, it's not just butter, sugar, egg and flour. But coming into the industry, I discovered that making quality cakes is not just about butter, sugar, eggs and flour. To get that moist, melting in the mouth, flavorful taste you're looking for, you need to use premium quality ingredients. You need to take certain things into consideration, and that is where most of the money goes into.
Tell me about what you enjoy most about being a baker.
Cake itself is art. So when you see what you create, you get happy. You're happy about it. And then the reaction from clients, the referrals, the prayers you get when you meet clients' expectation, it keeps you going in the business.
I know it hasn't been long that you started in this business, but what would you say your business philosophy is?
Hard work, tenacity of purpose, the fear of God, consistency. We do not cut corners. We've been consistent. That's why we keep getting referrals over and over again from our customers.
Starting a business on your own, isn't it kind of difficult? Or would you say, oh, that is absolutely, wonderful, oh, I make so much money compared to if I'm working for somebody?
Doing business in Nigeria is not an easy task at all. You have to battle with lack of electricity, power supply, the bad roads, the high prices of premium quality ingredients. So when you put all that in place, it works you up a lot. And then having to manage it also with family, it doesn't come cheap. But on the other hand, if you look at it on the other hand, you have something doing for yourself. You can also be an employer of labor. You can employ people. You can actually contribute to the growth of the GDP.
Speaking about family, how have you been able to balance your work life and your family together?
When I started, it wasn't easy because I had young children. I had to attend to them. I had to attend to my husband and other relatives around. But now that they're in boarding school, it's a lot easier. Back then, I make sure that I attend to them during the day, and then when they go to bed at night, I work throughout the night. But as it is now, I can work during the day while the youngest one is in school because the other two are in boarding school. And then at night, when my husband comes back from work or when the other one comes back from school, I give them my attention. When they go to bed again, I take it up from where I stop.
Let's talk about the cake you're making today. Red velvet cake, cream cheese frosting. What makes it so special and unique?
Red velvet cake is it's in a class of its own. It's moist, it's flavorful, it's melting in the mouth. Everything you want in a cake, you find in red velvet cake. And it pairs perfectly with cream cheese frosting. Cream cheese frosting is a luxurious frosting. It takes, when you pair it with red velvet cake, it takes it to an entirely new level. So this period of Valentine, imagine pairing red velvet and cream cheese and you are trying to propose to a girl. Of course, the answer will definitely be yes.
Thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure having this chat with you.
Thank you very much. My pleasure also.
That was our conversation with Sarah Ogichi. She is the CEO of Zeba's Oven and Fries. Our cake should be ready now. But before we go back to decorate it, here's Baker's Gist for you.
Here we have different types of cupcakes. We have wines. We have the rose flower, which is a symbol of love. And of course, the fruit vase. For those of you who are very creative and you want to make fruits at home, for those you love, you can just do something as elegant as this to go a long way. I have a box here. I'm going to arrange these cupcakes that have been decorated with natural fruits, strawberries, cherries, and meringues, and of course, the rose. And for those of you that think it's best to propose a Valentine, you can also pop in your ring. You can see my heart-shaped Valentine cupcakes, strawberries, all in the spirit of love. Isn't this beautiful? You can just package this as I'm doing and send it to your loved one, send it to the office. To be a pleasant surprise, I'm sure. And if you're going to be at home, you can do something as beautiful as this fruit vase. You can also have your wine at the side and then pop your wine and celebrate with your loved ones. You can also light your candle. Just do all the little things to make the love happen. The season is upon us, so why not?
Our cake is out of the oven. We set it apart to cool properly before frosting. Look at how yummy it looks. We're going to cut it into 2 halves. We are going to soak it with sugar syrup. Just be generous with it. We are going to frost our cake with silk and smooth buttercream. We are doing this because we don't want our filling to spill out. Okay, so the next thing is to fill up this place with our cream cheese. So we're still going to increase our border. Again, make another border. So next we're going to trim off the cake so we'll have an even cake. Make sure that your knife is straight. This is a serrated knife. So we'll take all the excess and clean off our board. The next thing we're going to do is to frost our cake. We call it, the first step to that is crumb coating. With that done, we'll keep it in the freezer to set. Our cake has firmed up. If you tap it, you'll see it doesn't feel sticky. Okay, next we'll frost our cake. Then next we'll go to the sides. Okay, we have every part of our cake covered up with icing now. We are going to smoothen it with our scraper. This pattern we're making, we want half of this cake to be red. So we cut out a template and then we colored our frosting red with red food color, and then we are going to place it on the cake, put in the freezer to firm up, and then peel off the parchment paper. So we check out for the exact part we want to place this. We want to place it on this side. We lift it gently. We'll start pulling out the parchment paper gently. Looks beautiful, right? We are going to lift up our cake gently and then put it on the board that we have prepared for it. We have lifted our cake onto the board. Then we take the edge of the cake with a ribbon for a neater finish. Let me help you with this one. beautiful, right? Now to finish it up completely, we'll outline this part of our cake with gold leaves. Voila! Our red velvet cake is ready. Don't you just love this?
Wow, this is really beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Good job.
Thank you.
And well done. You've done an amazing job here.
Thank you.
But I must have a taste to see if it tastes as good as it looks. So, you had our baker. This red velvet cake, of course, can be used for any occasion, and most especially Lover's Day cake. And like you had our baker say, if anybody wants to propose to his girlfriend, this is the type of cake you should go with. And of course, a ring. This tastes so yummy. I tell you, this is really yummy. You want to have a taste of a cake like this, just follow all the procedure and steps that our baker has displayed. Well, that's all we have for you today on Baker's World. You can follow us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's Baker's World on NTA. Till next week, I am Funke Oyele. Bye for now.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Yes.
My name is Jane, and I am 18, and this is where I hang out with my friends. We are deeply concerned about the problems facing Nigeria, but when it comes to doing something about it, we would rather sit on the fence.
Hold up.
Dab, 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 dab. Yes. Dab, 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 dab. Yes.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Dab. Yes. One day as I did dab, they go. Now I might see my neighbor on top electric pole. Don't be hammer you hold so.
Before, so
climb every day. Come on, electric bill. You not gree pay.
Waiting concern you for there. I beg you, come over here.
Okay, oh, I don't talk my own. As I dab reach house. Yay! Fire! Fire! My brand new flat screen.
Hold up. Waiting concern you for there. I beg you, come over here.
Government property, now my property. If you don't come down now, I go report.
Don't be only report. Now report card.
Dab. Yes.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to Vision TV.
In Abuja. I'm Hawa Salihu Adaman. We start with the judiciary today. The Supreme Court has sacked the Bayelsa State Governor-elect, David Leon, and ordered INEC to withdraw his certificate of return. The 5-man panel of justices led by Justice Mary Odili also ordered INEC to issue certificate of return to the candidate that scored the second highest votes cast in the governorship election. In a unanimous judgment read by Justice Ejembi Eko, the court held that the APC candidates' running mates supplied false information in INEC's biodata farm. Now, Senam Bamigboye is joining us live from Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital, to tell us how the news of the Supreme Court judgment was received. Hello, Senam.
Hello, Hawa. Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much, Senam. I'm just wondering, how are the people reacting to the news in Yenagoa? Did it change the ambience in any way, considering the fact that I understand swearing in is slated for tomorrow, Friday?
Okay, yes. Bayelsans received the news with mixed feelings, the news of the Supreme Court judgment with mixed feelings. Because, in Bayelsa State, we seem to have the two parties at par, the APC and the PDP. Earlier in the day, we had a lot of movement activities, getting to a height towards the inauguration slated for tomorrow. The APC flags were everywhere in the state capital, and particularly along the streets lining up to the Siasia Sports Complex, where the inauguration usually holds. But as at this afternoon, when the news filtered into the city, there have been, different ambience. The flags are no longer there. Among the APC, those aligned with the APC, there seems to be some kind of stoic calm. The people are actually going about their businesses, while in the those aligned with the PDP seem to be in heightened spirits. The government house, which had been a little quiet earlier, we are having people trooping into the government house, some with drums, some with
uniforms, dancing as expected, when there's a turn in the tide. But generally, everywhere is calm. The police are on ground. Just about 2 hours ago, the police went about with a show of force, moving around to ensure that everything remains as it should be. So but the governor of the state, Siraki Dixon, is expected to have a press briefing at about 6 p.m. today. So from there, we'll be able to know what his feelings are right now. But there's calm.
Thank you very much, Senam, for your update. But I'm just wondering too, what is your guess on projections in the coming days?
Well, the people had actually been expecting a change from one government to the other, that is from one party to the other, to bring changes that they have been expecting, because it appeared that in certain sectors, like this, among the civil servants, they had been expecting more regular salaries and all of that. But we, right now, since there's still a new government coming into place, so I believe whether it's PDP or APC, the expectations may still be holding. Before now, people were, expecting that the APC government might come with some changes from what they had been expecting. But now it's still a new government, so I believe that we will still be expecting something new that will add value to their lives.
Okay, thank you very much, Senan. That will be all for now. We will definitely get back to you for more updates. Still staying with the judiciary, the publisher of Sahara Reporters, Omoyele Sowore and Olawale Bakari, have been rearranged before a federal high court in Abuja on an amended 2-count charge bordering on treasonable felony. The two defendants pleaded not guilty to the charge filed by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation.
At the resumed trial, the prosecution counsel, Ali Lukayode, informed the court that the federal government has complied with the court's orders over the payment of the 200,000 naira awarded the defendant as cost. He also said the prosecution is ready to proceed with the trial, but the defense counsel, Abdul Mahmood, objected on the grounds that the prosecution has served them only the summary of the witnesses' statements and insisted on being served with the full statements, even though the prosecution maintained it was a full text that was served. The defense counsel also insisted that since Shore's statement is on video, the transcript is not enough. He said the video will equally be needed to enable them prepare their defense. Justice Ijoma Ojukwu adjourned the case to 11th, 12th, and 13th of March for definite trial.
Advocacy for community radio as a tool for development as well as fostering peace and unity is the focus of this year's World Radio Day. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday in this report takes a look at the impact and relevance of radio to societal development.
I got Abuja's very own anti-world.
Information is said to be power, and radio is one of the media of information dissemination. 38-year-old Emmanuel Ogbodo is an interior decorator. He does not miss the news on the top of the hour and follows scheduled programs. He told me it is a motivational tool for his business.
When you're not listening to the radio, you are like a blind man. But when you listen to the radio, we know what is happening. It makes my work go faster. I feel happy.
It's now 3 minutes for the top of the hour.
Depth of penetration of radio gives it an edge over other media, an advantage the United Nations wants operators and governments at all levels to take advantage of.
As we strive to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and tackle the climate crisis, radio has a key role to play as a source of information and inspiration alike.
Especially the content. Nathan Williams, an editor and reporter, says his station focuses more on developmental programs.
So we give them the voice so that they speak out and let the government know
what they need.
Dr. Mansour Liman, Director General, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, says even in today's world of digital communication, radio still reaches more people than any other platform.
It is the most accessible thing that you can put on. Within seconds, you start listening to what is happening. And
Dr. Liman believes that the Nigerian government must invest more in radio infrastructure to enable it to reach all parts of the country.
Technology has moved so fast that the kind of shortwave transmitters that are being produced now are very different from the ones that we used to have in the 60s. So there is the need to make sure that we procure new ones.
Another advantage of radio is that it is an interactive platform where people can air their views, concerns, and grievances. I hope you now see the idea of listening to news and other programs on the radio. Happy World Radio Day. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Very well, Adebola. And still talking about the World Radio Day, let's get you to listen to radio and television as we briefly join the network news studio of Radio Nigeria, where the network news at 4 is ongoing with Yahya Umar.
They were coming in a while ago. Hello?
Okay. Okay, could you give us a sense of what it means in today's Nigeria to be a radio journalist and presenter?
Radio journalist and presenter. Now, first of all, one needs to have the determination and commitment to serve. And not forgetting that one also should be a patriot. Patriotism plays a major role in Nigerian broadcasting. But training and retraining makes you sharpen. These are attributes that we're talking about. Intoning your voice, pronouncing names correctly. Retraining, commitment to the job, and dedication to what you're doing to help you to be a very good radio journalist. Dedication to what you're doing to help you to be a very good radio journalist. And not forgetting, too, that you need to get out the real truth, the hidden truth, by doing investigative journalism. It helps to do.
Okay, Yahya, you talked about patriotism. And how do you gauge reactions on some of your content tailored to address current national issues?
Reactions come www.radionigeria.gov.ng. We're hooked up to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and what have you. By way of interaction, radio, well, we have a radio phone-in program, and listeners are allowed to call in and send in mails via our email platform. We're able to gauge their reaction. The political atmosphere is charged. You can get the news by us and all that, and we also engage and understand via the telephone and other aspects of telecommunication to get the reaction from the ground. And because it's radio, we go to every nook and cranny, every nook and cranny of Nigeria, all nooks and crannies of Nigeria. We go there and find out the news because radio can everywhere in the world. Wherever you are, in the hole, out of the hole, in the distance, from afar, from there, radio can see wherever you are. Yes.
Thank you very much, Yahya. And the news now continues here on television. While still on this subject, Abdullahi Muhammad in Kaduna gives us some historical perspective to this special means of communication.
1962 was a turning point as far as a radio broadcast is concerned in northern Nigeria, and it all started in this house known as Faringida Kapinsadona, which means the White House, the establishment of the then Premier of northern Nigeria, Sir Ahmed Bello. And since then, a lot has changed in the way productions and broadcasts of radio programs are carried out here.
Who else could give us a vivid account of how radio production was than a voice that has left an indelible mark over the radio in northern Nigeria?
everything was being done manually. Like, for example, if you talk about production, you go out, get your materials from, in a UHA. That is one big recording machine like that we put across our shoulders. After getting the materials, we come back here, go to the studio, we produce tapes.
The radio space today has gone digital. Production and transmission has been simplified by technology.
Kwalejin kimiyya ta ƙasa ta buƙaci gwamnatin tarayya ta ƙaddamar da cutar zazzabin Lassa a matsayin lamari da za a ba shi kula na musamman.
Radio itself has evolved from the monotonous transistor to a multifunctional and more appealing gadgets which have kept it relevant. Devices like mobile phones and other information dissemination sources could be contesting for space in the ears of listeners of radio. But people like Abubakar and Sunday say only sleep keeps them away from their radio.
I'm working with radio 24 hours. Sometimes if I'm in the toilet, I use with radio.
I thereafter took a trip to the countryside and found out that the radio is revered there. Despite having a smartphone where a radio broadcast is a touch away, Tukur goes to places with his radio. And guess what? He may be kilometers away from where the favorite radio stations broadcast their programs, but he appears to be a continuity announcer of sort. The keen interest in radio shown by the generation after Tukur is an indication that the radio has come to stay. No wonder the world stands still today to honor the radio for standing the test of time and living the life of a king of information. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
Sure, Abdullahi. And let's now join Tokwe Alabi in Oshogbo for more on the Radio Day.
Oshogbo is also known with the popularity of radio, and our fathers here also listen to radio virtually every day. To Chief Pokpola Bolanewa, an 83-year-old man, listening to radio has become his companion.
My morning begins with listening to radio in my bedroom, and I wake up and listen to OSBC news about Nigeria.
Radio has done so much that it is a means of advocacy.
However, radio, no doubt, has remained a powerful means of mass communication. Even with the advent of the social media, I can authoritatively tell you that every GSM phone has a radio inbuilt.
Thanks, Tokwe. Radio will definitely continue to be relevant. Well, maybe on more modern platforms. Now, Obiora Ilo and Chisom Kamse are here with me in the studio to talk more on the World Radio Day. You're welcome, Obiora.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And Chisom, hello, can you hear me? Okay. Obiora, in retaining its relevance, how has radio practically established itself as a champion for peaceful coexistence in Nigeria?
Well, I must say that the mobility of radio, which was threatened when we had television, and people feared it was going to be further threatened by the internet, by the mobility of the internet gadgets like telephones and all that, is still as relevant as it was before. Radio, because of its reach, because of its ease of reach compared with maybe television, is still very relevant today. And especially with the development in science, where the mobile devices, which almost everyone carries now, also comes with the radio input in it. It has also strengthened the reach of the radio. I was actually surprised a few days ago. I was at the ATM and I saw a guy who came with a radio set, the old shortwave radio set.
Okay.
And I was surprised because everyone is trying to do it
on the phone.
On the phone. So you see that attachment is still there. And because of its wide reach, it has continued to be a tool for national cohesion, unity, development, just name it. Because you still find that when people go on campaigns, whether it's political campaign, whether it's a marketing campaign, whether it's to sell a product, they do TV, they do cable, they do satellite. But when they want to reach the ordinary people, the device they go for, the medium they go for is radios.
Okay, before we talk about reaching the ordinary people, let's join Kamsi. Kamsi, I'm just wondering, the radio has evolved and we have it on the web and internet platforms. How would you say this has helped in actively capturing various views and freedom of expression?
Well, I think it's been very, very amazing how accessible it has been right now. I mean, you don't need to go and buy a radio set these days. You have it on your phone. So right now, anybody can easily, whatever part of the world they are, they can join a particular radio program in any state, in any part of the world to air their views and talk about how they feel about a particular issue. So it has brought people more together, making people like not miss out on anything. So whether there's an issue going on right now in Nigeria or is going on in whatever part of the world, and then you want to listen to it, you want to be part of it, you want to say how you feel, like you want your voice to be heard, it's just at the tip of your fingers. And that's how amazing it has come.
Okay, could you talk to us on content development in programming and how they are often fashioned to speak to national and contemporary issues?
Programming is very important. Content development is very important, and every radio station has to, like, how do I put this? Like you said, content development for national importance. Because of the reach of radio, everything that should be put out there for content should be very, what's the word? It should be very, like, it should be put in a way that would not hit up the polity. That's the point I'm trying to make.
All right, let me go back to Obiora here with me in the studio. Obiora, you talked about the radio getting to the grassroots, and I have this feeling that how are community radio stations doing in this regard, getting the mandates to the people?
Well, good idea, community radio. But you know, with this reach we are talking about, where you can reach anyone, anywhere, that's very special advantage of the community radio is a little, whittled down. But community radio is also beautiful because it deals with the specific needs of the audience that it covers, their culture, their way of life, their commerce, their immediate problems, their language, and what have you. So, but I think that what is important on a day like this is for those of us that are media practitioners, that are radio journalists and practitioners, to understand how effective the radio is to reach the ordinary people. For those in government, for those in business, to understand the effectiveness of radio and in turn use it appropriately. If we are producing programs, when we are targeting audiences, we know that we have a very strong tool, and that what we need to do in the studio or wherever we come up with these programs is to make sure that these programs serve the purpose for national development, for national unity, because that is what every ordinary person in Nigeria or in any other country is so used to.
That's true, Obiora, whether it's on conventional or on the internet platforms.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Obiora, for coming to our studios. I'm just wondering, do you listen to the radio on your telephone, or you actually have a radio set?
I listen on my telephone, I listen on my satellite devices, I listen to radio in my car, almost everywhere.
Thank you very much.
Very mobile thing indeed.
Okay, and Chizom Kamse, we really appreciate your being on Nationwide today. Moving on, it's Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. More reports when we return. Do stay.
This year, the weather conditions Harmattan in Nigeria is harsh, with temperature dropping very low in some parts of the country. Many underprivileged children are exposed to these harsh weather conditions, putting them at risk to all sorts of respiratory infections with devastating consequences. We request well-meaning Nigerians to kindly donate warm clothing, blankets, beverages, soap, moisturizers, and other essential items for the benefit of these children. Get involved to support displaced and underprivileged children exposed to these harsh weather conditions. Powered by Aisha Buhari Foundation.
The lack of electricity has really brought up multi-dimensional challenges of human existence.
People are really suffering. They are really suffering.
Whatever we want to do, we are just managing ourselves.
We are praying to have something.
Coming on April 2nd, 2020, in the capital city of Abuja, the Ivory 8 Ball, a life-saving fundraising event featuring music and arts in aid of skin cancer patients with albinism. For participation and sponsorship, call Edidiong on 070-197-73352 or Chinwe on 090-559-61514. This event is powered by Nigerian Television Authority, TV Enterprises, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, African Independent Television, and Ray Power FM, Silverbird Television, and Rhythm FM, the Albino Foundation, the Ivory 8 Ball, for a worthy cause. Watch out.
Are you looking for a serene environment where you can relax and feel at home with family and friends? Then search no more, because Liverpool VIP Hotel and Unique Resort is the answer. At Liverpool VIP Hotel and Unique Resort, we have well-furnished standard rooms and suites, 24 hours power supply, advanced security with CCTV cameras everywhere, VIP and bush bar, restaurant with all kinds of African and continental cuisines, assorted drinks, shawarma sports, modern 80-seater conference room. And now, check this out, 30% discount for all rooms and suites for 3 months. Hurry now to Liverpool VIP Hotels and Unique Resort, located at number 4 St. Michael's Crescent, off Tombier Extension, Jerry A Phase 3, Port Harcourt, River State. For reservation and more information, call 080-6764-0587. Liverpool VIP Hotel and Unique Resort. True hospitality.
Thanks for rejoining us. It's Nationwide. To the legislature now, the Senate has described the recent attack on Annu community in Borno State, where 30 persons were killed by gunmen, as despicable. This followed a motion of urgent public importance which called on the Senate to condemn the attack, urged the federal government to begin the process of rehabilitation of the affected community, as it called on the military authority to establish a base in Annu so as to intensify its security operations effectively and to immediately carry out an investigation on the circumstances surrounding the killings. The motion also urged the federal government, through the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management to provide relief materials to the families of those affected. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, however, reminded his colleagues that the consultations between the Senate and the executive arm of government with regard to security challenges in the country will be fruitful. The Senate passed 6 bills through first reading. These include the bill that seeks to prohibit discrimination between first degrees and highest national diplomas. And still staying with the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has urged the federal government to review the privatization of the power sector as the performance of discourse has fallen short of expectation. House members, in their contributions during the debate on the matter put forth by Representative Nolim Naji, expressed disappointment that in spite of federal government's effort at improving power generation, the distribution companies have shown lack of capacity in transmission. The lawmakers also adopted a motion from Bello Yakubu urging the National Universities Commission to publish the names of identified fake professors in some Nigerian universities. In the meantime, 2 House members, Kingsley Chima and Pascal Dozier from Imo State, have defected from the Action Alliance to the All Progressives Congress. Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila announced their decision at the plenary this Thursday. Let's now join Chineye in Enugu to give us the outcome of the security summit attended by the Inspector General of Police. Good afternoon to you, Chineye.
Good afternoon, Hawa. Thank you and welcome to Enugu. The Southeast governors have put their seal on the establishment of community policing and the geopolitical zone. Mina Adobi Okobase reports that this was at the Southeast Geopolitical Zone Summit held in Enugu State with the theme, Strategic Partnership for Effective Community Policing in Southeast Zone.
In attendance were the Inspector General of Police, the 5 governors of the Southeast. Host Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi thanked the Inspector General of Police, saying that Enugu and other states in the zone will soon enjoy serene ambience of which they were known for before now.
We're also on the threshold of deploying our automated drone surveillance solution to give the needed impetus to our security surveillance.
Keynote speaker Professor Felix Asogwa extolled the heightened security situation in Nigeria and the Southeast Zone in particular, advocating a more robust security architecture while giving credence to the fact that community policing will improve public confidence in the police. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, lauded the confidence reposed in him by the zone and solicited the support of key stakeholders in partnering with the police for the success of community policing.
In order to aid effective implementation, the following process are to be in place. 1. We shall establish community policing committees at local communities and at the state levels.
Others that lent their voices to the security discourse includes Chairman Ohaneze Ndibo Nnianwodo, Archbishop Emmanuel Chukwuma, Chairman Enugu State Council of Traditional Rulers and Deputy Governor Imo State. A communique was issued which highlighted the modus operandi of the Community Policing Committee when constituted. In Enugu, Mina Adobi Okobase, NTA News.
And that is it from Enugu. Hawa is back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Very well, Chineye. And we are not done with Enugu, as Enugu is still in the news. This time, we hear that about 130 inmates of the Correctional Center in Enugu successfully clinched 5 credits and above in the recently released result of the 2019 NECO examinations, including English and mathematics. The Nigerian Correctional Service acknowledges that recent efforts to transform former prison cells into classrooms are paying off, with more inmates from other states excelling academically as well. James Okwarai-Kocha is standing by at the Correctional Center in Old Park, Enugu. He reaches us from one of the classrooms where we have some of the successful inmates.
With over 200 degree holders graduating from this center through the National Open University. I have with me here the controller, Nigerian Correctional Center, Enugu Command, Mr. Emelwe Joseph.
This educational center is a very important tool in our efforts to turn the people around.
We have one of them is a lady who in fact has written 2 novels.
In this life, the only thing that can give you what you want is education.
But we have somebody who is was on the death row actually, just until last year when he was moved from death row to a lifer.
To God be the glory, I saw this opportunity of enhancing and advancing in academics, and I grabbed it with 2 hands.
Because outside, I have the zeal to further my education. So I've seen that to be a sentenced man does not mean that I have lost hope.
The name correctional is actually beginning to make that impact, for which the name was changed from prison to correctional. Because as you can see, they have suddenly realized that this place is not actually the end of the world.
And to take the issue further is Ogechi Ogu, the Deputy Director, Prisons Rehabilitation, Welfare Action. Welcome to our studios, Ogechi.
Thank you. Good evening, Nigerians.
Okay. Could you describe some of the recent academic fates by inmates as a manifestation of some of the reforms embarked upon by the correctional service?
Yes, the education feat that the inmates have achieved for quite some time now is part of the reform that had happened in the past, by the Nigerian Correctional Service, the former prison service, picking on good, international practices in the, across the globe, and utilizing that to service the service generally. But right now we have in our laws provisions for that, to boost the issue of provision of education opportunities to inmates. Section 14 of the Nigerian Correctional Service Act 2019 provides that the correctional service should provide opportunities for inmates to access education, and goes down to subsection 5 to say that any inmate that has gotten educated within the facility should equally be given with the approval, with the recommendation of the Controller General, should be given a certificate of good behavior. Okay. And this certificate, when you go down to subsection 6 again, should serve as, a platform to help such ex-inmates not to be discriminated against. So what we should be looking at now is of how to utilize the benefits of this new provision. Okay. Now, what does education do for us within the facilities of the Nigerian Correctional Service? If education at whatever level, whether formal or informal, opportunities are given to the inmates, we are now, it seems we are now thinking of the future, because there is a thin line between the custodial center and the society itself.
Is there any plan to make this a long-term thing?
It has always been there. It has been there. It's already a long-term thing. Opportunities are given to inmates. Some of them register with Open University. They are taught within the facility itself, the custodial center. Now, what purpose does this serve? It serves the purpose that we are now seeing the custodial centers as part of us, because there's a thin line. The people that enter the custodial center are coming from the communities.
So they will go back as better citizens. Thank you very much, Ogechi Ogu, Deputy Director of Prisons Rehabilitation and Welfare. We appreciate you being here.
All right.
Moving on, beneficiaries of free eye surgeries and services are commending the Cross River State Governor for reaching out to the less privileged in the rural areas. This was at Akampa local government area, where the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Betta Edu, flagged off 1,000 free eye surgeries to be undertaken in the 18 local government areas of the state. Paul Abel completes the report.
The human eye plays significant roles in the body, and everything to keep it healthy and functional can be desirable. But some persons, due to environmental factors among others, are passing through hard times because of the poor condition of their eyes. Hence, the ICAMS project by the Cross River State government would not have come at a better time than now, providing opportunities on treatment of the eyes and how to prevent eye ailments.
I take government and say, thank you. I don't have anything to give government. I'll just tell and say, thank you. God will help them.
Some of us, we don't have money to even feed our children ourselves for 3 square meals that night, that we should have money to go and purchase a class.
For the Cross River State government and partners, the motivation is to ensure that the people are happy and comfortable as it extends the message of humanity down to the rural dwellers while making Cross River State a hub of medical tourism in eye care services.
The idea is to set up these camps, reach them where they live in their own communities, and indeed offer them that eye care which they truly deserve.
All our people that need treatment for eyes, they will not go blind for treatable or preventable causes of blindness.
We will ask God in His infinite mercy to continue in the services He's rendering to the people.
The eye camps are also expected to be replicated in schools across the state to reach children. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NGN News.
Today is the 44th anniversary of the assassination of Nigeria's former military head of state, General Murtala Muhammad. He was assassinated on February the 13th, 1976 on his way to work during an abortive coup. He was born on November 8th, 1938 and died on February 13, 1976. He was the head of the federal military government of Nigeria from 1975 until his assassination in 1976. As head of state, Muhammad put in place plans to build a new federal capital territory in Abuja to decongest Lagos. He created 7 more states in February 1976, bringing the total number of states in Nigeria to 19. The name Victor Olaiya is synonymous with winning and conquering a mother's blessing, a symbol of African creativity and beauty with a unique blend of high life genre mashed with blues and the trumpet. That's Victor Olaiya. Here is a special tribute from Ekemini Williams.
This is a song originally written and sung by a trumpeter who ruled the airwaves in the 1950s and 60s. A man who has tasted the waters as far as music is concerned, both home and abroad. Dr. Victor Abimbola Olaiya, legendary high-life musician. Respected and admired by many. Oh, little do these independent performers know that barely days after this show, Victor Olaiya, high life maestro, will pass on. According to the managing director of Evergreen Music Company, Bimbo Esho, the high life icon, who was a member of the Evergreen Music label, died at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital. And although the music industry has been thrown into mourning by Dr. Olaiya's death, his memory remained evergreen in the minds of many. May his soul rest in peace.
Meanwhile, Victor Olaiya also prominently featured on NTA's Stars of the Tube and High Life Heritage, among other programs directed by a very important Austin Eruka, who is now joining me live in the studio. Good afternoon and welcome to Nationwide.
Thank you very much.
Okay. You worked with him in a professional capacity. Yes. Can you tell us what he was like as an artist?
He was, that kind of a musician. Mm-hmm. I think it runs in his blood, sort of, not every musician has that kind of sense of looking at things as a musician, you know. When he plays his music, you can see that it comes from deep down the heart, you know. Victor Olaiya, you know, it was somebody that when we invite him to NTA for any show, he's not interested in the money. He's interested in the performance. The first time we got into the studio was when we did the series High Life Heritage. We used Edio Konta as the tour guide. So through Edio Konta's story, it linked us to Bobby Benson, Victor Olaiya, and all that. So we didn't call it an Edio Konta show, we called it High Life Heritage. But we used Edio Konta as a tour guide to, you know, tell the story of
your working relationship. What did you take away from working with him?
It is the particular day we were recording his own beat, you know. I told him, you see that camera over there? That's your camera. When you're going to take your trumpet solo, even if you are, you know, with the white handkerchief that he uses, at all times you see the white handkerchief when he's blowing his trumpet. I said, give me that move to your camera, and that will give me the kind of shot I want. And because, you see, when you direct musicals, those people at home, you must take them into the venue where it's happening. And you've got to know how to do that, or else people will be lost at home, they won't care.
Thank you very much, Mr. Austin Aruka. I'm sure we'll never have enough time to talk about this
we'll have a lot to
very
talk
important
about.
man.
Yes.
Moving on, we hear that sympathizers are trooping into the late singer's residence. So let's now join Ruth in Lagos for more on Victor Olaiya.
Thank you, Hawa, and welcome to Lagos. Sympathizers have been trooping into the Surulere residence of late High Life maestro Sir Victor Olaiya to condole with his family. Family members and friends who spoke with Khadijat Akombi described him as an icon whose legacy will forever remain green.
Sir Victor Abimbola Olaiya, one of the legends of high life music in Nigeria, who is also recognized internationally, passed away on Wednesday at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital at the age of 89. At his Surulere residence in Lagos, sympathizers were seen condoling with his family members. For his family members and friends of the family who spoke with NTA News, late Sir Victor Olaiya, who backed the Nigerian National Honor of the Officer of the Order of Niger and other awards for his outstanding contribution to the music industry and humanity, his legacies will forever remain green in the minds of many.
I feel sad, but I'm happy because this is a celebration of life.
If someone has lived his life very well and he's achieved almost everything, and he's left a strong legacy such as this for people to imbibe and follow through, I honestly think it's a celebration of life.
His music stands for life, in death. You would keep on with his music.
He brought many good things to this area. We always hold meeting together. If there's anything, they either run to him or they come to me.
For a man whose music career spanned over 60 years, late Sir Victor Olaiya's legacies will not be forgotten for a long time. In Lagos, Khadijat Akombi, NTA News.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Works, Senator Adamu Aliru, says the Senate will continue to play its role to ensure that all ongoing road projects in Lagos State and other parts of the country are completed. He gave the assurance when he led other members of the committee on a courtesy visit to the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu in his office. Nosa Osula reports.
The federal government had in September 2017
began massive rehabilitation works on some major roads in Lagos State. The chairman of the committee explained that they were in the state to inspect the rehabilitation, reconstruction and expansion works on Lagos-Ibadan Dual Carriageway, Lagos-Badagry Expressway, Apapa-Tinkan Wharf Road, Ikorodu-Shagamu Expressway, and many more ongoing federal road projects in the state.
We can no longer rely on budget to continue funding infrastructure. We must find alternative ways of building roads, railway, and power. And perhaps this is why it's important to go into public-private partnership.
In his response, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu commended the Senate committee for the visit and assured them of the continuous support of the state government.
Federal government has built the Eko Bridge, they built Kata Bridge, the magnanimous, they've also built the third Mena Bridge for us. But we're taking our destiny to our hand. We've advertised on the PPP model to do the fourth Mena Bridge. And interestingly, it's supposed to be like a ring road. It's supposed to be a 37-kilometer bridge and superhighway and road and bridge construction.
The committee is in Lagos State to carry out its oversight functions on federal road infrastructure in the state. In Lagos, Lassa, Osula, NTA News.
Pirated and low-quality textbooks worth 20 million naira have been seized at the Tinkan Island port in Lagos. Abolade Salami reports that the seizure was carried out by officials of Nigeria Copyright Commission, NCC, and Nigeria Customs Service, Tinkan Island Port Command.
If the seized textbooks had ended up in bookstores or markets in Nigeria, many would have likely mistaken them for original copies. The reality, however, is they are all pirated. From new concept English textbooks for junior and senior secondary schools, 3rd and 4th edition, Macmillan Champion Primary Mathematics, to the early beginners Bible story books. Before the arrest and seizure, the suspect had claimed that the container was loaded with Bibles.
On the custom part, it's a contravention of the relevant Custom and Exercise Management Act, actually section 161, which is untrue declaration. If the man had declared Bibles, it is expected that what we will see inside this container would have been Bibles.
Director General Nigerian Copyright Commission, who was represented by Director of Public Affairs, says the Commission will not compromise standards and adherence to quality.
We are here to show that it will not be condoned and to send a clear signal to the barons of piracy in this country, both those who are importing and those who are producing locally, that this heinous crime will no longer be tolerated.
To make it look beautiful, they even do more of these color combinations. You understand me now? Whereas the original producers of some of this work will not do a whole lot of color combinations.
The agency says the suspect, after due investigation, will be prosecuted. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
That report ends our contribution from Lagos. More reports from Hawa in Abuja after this break. Stay tuned.
Lassa fever occurs when a person gets bitten by a rat carrying the Lassa virus. It is also contacted through the consumption of foods that have been contaminated by either the saliva, urine, or excreta of the rats. Lassa fever is deadly, so protect yourself and loved ones from it. Keep rats away from your homes. Ensure that leftover foods are properly covered at night and heat up properly before consumption. Wash fruits properly before you eat. Maintain regular hand wash with soap and water, as well as environmental sanitation. Report all feverish conditions and bleeding from the nose or mouth to the health facility nearest to you, and don't indulge in self-medication. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA.
Thanks for rejoining us, and Abubakar in our Maiduguri Network Center is next on our lineup. Abubakar, you're on.
It's good to see you, Hawa, and thanks for joining us in Maiduguri.
The Nigerian military, in collaboration with Borno State government, has approved the commencement of fish marketing from Gamboru, Ngala to Maiduguri, with a call on the marketers not to indulge in any act capable of empowering Boko Haram insurgents. This was brought to the fore when the state governor Babagana Umar Zulum, theatre commander Operation Lafia Dole, and other military high command in the theatre, along with fish marketers as well as members of the road transport workers, held an interactive meeting in Mafa town. Mohammed Goni reports.
Just as Baga town in Kuka local government, Gamborungala Agri has been known for fish businesses responsible for supply of fish to most part of the state and beyond. When the Boko Haram insurgents delved into the fish business, the Nigerian military halted the business along the route with its attendant effect on the economy of the affected areas. Both the state government and the military high command agreed to revitalize the fishing business to revamp the economic sector and empower the people. We strongly warn against undermining the national security in this sport of the insurgents.
This government, people of Borno State, and indeed in Nigeria, all of us will fight to see the end of this conspiracy in Borno State. If we see any of the fishing community agree, work with, sympathize, give information, attack together, either innocent Nigerians or the military, the fishing will stop.
Both Governor Babagana Umara and the theatre commander Operation Lafia Dole assured that if the plan designed by the governor is strictly followed, the fish business will thrive, stressing that taxes are only paid to the state government. Secretary of the Fish Sellers Association in the state, Hassan Mustafa Babayerwa, appreciated the state government and the military for allowing them to return to business.
As part of effort to ensure repentant Boko Haram terrorists that have been reintegrated into the larger society are faring well, Commander Operation Safe Corridor, Major General Bamidele Shafa, has embarked on assessment tour to Borno. Memuna Garba reports.
The assessment visit was on the instruction of the Chief of Army Staff to know how well the repentant terrorists that have been reunited with their families are doing, whether they are fully accepted in the communities, and look at areas Operation Safe Corridor can contribute to well-being of the people for life to return back to normal. The assessment visit will take the commander to Goza, Jambua, as he had visited Bama and Maiduguri to interface with repentant terrorists.
Zan zauna cikin jama'a su karbe ni hannu biyu ba, amma da aka kawo ni kowa ya yi farin ciki. Su yi hakuri da irin abin da muka aikata da muka ce addini ne muka shiga kuma suka yaudare mu da kuma muka gane muka fita.
Some community leaders who expressed satisfaction with their behavior said there is need to assist them start up something for a living so that they will not go back to their former lives. Similarly, those at the Bulunkutu Rehabilitation Center in Maiduguri have assured to continue to be good citizens of the country. Commander Operation Safe Corridor, Major General Bamidele Shafa, urged them to utilize the opportunity the President has given them and continue to live in peace.
From what we have seen here today, from the testimonies of the boys, the testimonies of the community leaders, the traditional leaders, the religious leaders, we can see that the boys have been fully accepted into this community, and that is the message we want to pass to the boys that are still in the bush.
The commander further called on Boko Haram terrorists to lay down their arms and embrace peace. In Maiduguri, Memuna Garba, NTA News.
That's a contribution from Maiduguri. Let's now return to Hawa in Abuja. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Sure, Abubakar, and the contribution from Maiduguri wraps Nationwide this Thursday. We thank you for being part of it. Good evening.
NTA, you can't beat the reach. Yes.
My name is Jane, and I am 18, and this is where I hang out with my friends. We are deeply concerned about the problems facing Nigeria, but when it comes to doing something about it, we would rather sit on the fence.
Hold up. Dab. Yes. Dab. Yes.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Part of the functions of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board